I am stunned, but it is in fact the beginning of a new semester. And it's extraordinary, and it's really wonderful to see all of you. And I appreciate so much of what's been done this summer. So welcome back to faculty, and thank you from the bottom of my heart to the HEOs, to the staff who were here all summer, every day, every night. Thank you to them. They are just an amazing group of colleagues, and they're probably still trying to help freshmen and returning students sort out their lives. We've had quite a summer, a very busy summer. I hope some of you have had a chance to enjoy a break and to do the things that you love to do. We were doing them here too, because we love to do what we do, but it is nice to take a day once in a while. So this is something we've done almost every year, and it's a tradition. It's a tradition to look back and reflect on the previous year and to look ahead to this year. If you'll permit me, I'll characterize last year as we survived. And we did. Bless us, we did. So for those of you who don't know me, and so many of the faculty are relatively new, I've had the privilege of being affiliated with Queensborough for a very long time. And I have, again, the very special opportunity to be the president. So I have said this before, I want to reiterate it. It's something that Eduardo kind of taught me a while ago, which is to really just help people understand what it is that's going through my little head. So I really want to reiterate and repeat the things that are important to me that I think all of us, I hope, will come to participate in, engage in, support. I really want to continue a strong support for a very strong and engaged faculty. It's something that's meant the most to me over decades in higher education. Since I care so deeply about students, having also worked in that arena, I really believe in a student-centered learning environment, and I think that is something that's shared by all of you. You wouldn't be here otherwise. And I also believe as a community college that we need to have strong partnerships with our community for educational opportunities, for enrichment in various cultural endeavors that we do, and we do them very well. So those are the three areas for me that really guide many of the ways that I think about what we could do better. And I welcome and hope that you'll give me support in carrying all of them out. So obviously, there are many colleagues with whom I collaborate who make this possible. I'd just like to, for those of you, since so many people are new, I'd like to introduce, just if they could just stand up, the members of the ECP, the executive group. They are wonderful colleagues, and I'm so appreciative. Ellen Hardigan and Paul Jean-Pierre from Student Affairs. Rosemary Zins. Thank you. Karen Steele and her staff in Academic Affairs, Denise Ward, Artie Corradetti, Paul Marchesi, Bruce Naples, Sherry Newcomb, and Finance and Administration, Bill Faulkner, George Sherman, Liza Larios, who heads up all of our HR, and our newest member, Stephen DiDio, who you will come to know very quickly. Stephen, he will direct our communications and marketing. I know many of you have already met him. He has an amazing energy and an even stronger commitment to what we do and to telling our story, as he likes to phrase it. We also are aided in academic affairs by some wonderful colleagues, Ian Beckford, Janie Hinman, Brian Kerr. And our faculty fellows, I'm very grateful that their departments have blown them out, Margot Edlin and Glenn Birdie. Queensborough wouldn't be Queensborough without the leadership of our academic department chairpersons. And they're all here, and I'm not going to name them all. They're very special people, and they work tirelessly on your behalf, on the students' behalf, to really make this a wonderful institution. So personally, thank you to the department chair people. We have a tradition and a practice and a commitment to shared governance, and that we do with our colleagues in a number of governance bodies. The Faculty Executive Committee, which is chaired by Alex Tarasco. Alex is here. And the members of the Faculty Executive Committee, Joe Bertarelli, Nathan Chow, Wilma Fletcher Anthony, Susan Jacobowitz, Anthony Colios, and Philip Pecorino. Our Academic Senate Steering Committee is also important partners in what we do at Queensborough. Phil Pecorino is the chair of the steering committee. Emily Tai is the vice chair. And Joel Kuzai is the secretary. We also have a relationship and a partnership with the chapter representatives from the PSC. Dr. Lana Zinger is the chapter chair. Lana? The vice chair is Arancha Borrachero from Foreign Languages and Religion. The secretary is Michael Cesarano. Michael? And the grievance officer is Phil Pecorino. I'd like to introduce you to the new Student Government Board. They were elected, as you know, last spring. They served effective July 1. We've been working with them because they serve on the boards of the association, the auxiliary. They'll be on the College Advisory Planning Committee and, of course, members of the Senate as senators. So SGA, are you here? Want to stand up and wave? There you go. Well, it's never really a contest, because I could never measure up to Mona's calculations of how many faculty she has, but she's gotten me in the habit of thinking about how many faculty we have. And in fact, as of this semester, we have 426 full-time members of the faculty, which include classroom faculty, librarians, counselors, and college laboratory technicians. Please join me in welcoming the newest colleagues on the faculty. 28 have joined us this year. We've just had a whole wonderful morning with them, and they represent, actually over half of them are from the departments of English and Mathematics. So if you're here, would you stand? I'm not going to ask you to say anything or say your name. But welcome. So nice. So nice to have you all. Now, we also say goodbye, of course, to a few people who've decided to retire or who've moved on to other positions. And I know for some of you, you may not have all the news, and so and you might want to say goodbye or send a note. These folks have retired. We wish them the best and know they're going to have wonderful experiences ahead. Helene Dunkelblatt, Nancy Laurel Petterson, Manette Berlinger, Stan Garfunkel, Shayla Nagakati, Alex Flamholz, Dave McCauley, Dee Springer, and Woolston Brown. So the best to them, and I know you'll wish them that. Moving on to other positions, we were sorry that they moved on, but many of them have moved to different parts of the country. Scott Mancha, John Reagan, Julie Pigza, Kevin Frazier, Melanie Seaman, Tina Iakova, and Marge Riley. And again, we will miss them, but we have wonderful new faculty to join our ranks, and we will keep up with that pace. So, we've been at registration for months, and now we're about to start classes tomorrow. We've registered over 16,000 students. They're still settling, as you can imagine. If the biology department wishes to open 10 more sections, we can fill them for you in about 5 minutes. We have over 3,400 new freshmen and over 850 new transfer students, which has made a difference in some of the courses where we were right on the bubble because they were upper level courses. So it's still going on. We had a freshman orientation yesterday, and we had the theater filled morning and then filled again in the afternoon with these wonderful students. And I think they've heard a lot about you, and I want to tell you they're a pretty special group. So I think we'll all have a good time, and certainly have a lot of energy when they all come tomorrow. It's Wednesday, right, it's Wednesday. Okay. So many other staff have joined us, the faculty, in addition to faculty, the HEOs and other staff members. They are probably, for the most part, since they were in the service offices, trying to offer that service to our students. So you will meet them along the way. They've been really great additions to our staff. Now, this year, we have a strategic plan, as you all know, and we develop that together as a community, and we use that to advance our budget allocations, and we'll be going forward as we do in a very orderly fashion with that. But we do have special priorities. I certainly have. I'm very keen on several things. One of them is the relaunching of the Queensborough Academies, activities and services that will support student academic performance, retention, and graduation, faculty development, and of course, assessment. Don't boo, but assessment. This year since I've had to say goodbye to so many colleagues because they've moved on and retired, it occurs to me that probably more than half of our faculty is relatively new to us in the last 2 or 3 years. And so we have senior faculty, veteran faculty, and we have new faculty, and we do many things together in governance. So I'm concerned that more people have an opportunity to participate, to learn, and to share in the experience of making these decisions together. So I really have a strong interest, and I hope we will work together to create formal leadership development programs, not just for the faculty, but also for HEOs, for staff, and for students. Gisela Rivera's going to handle that, and we're going to have a year-long leadership development program for students, because that's our lifeblood as well. And as you know, they're only here with us, ideally, for 2 years. And so by the time we get to know them and they serve, they are elected, it means a constant turnover. So we would like to find our leaders among the faculty and the staff and the HEOs and the students sooner than later. There's lots for us to do together, okay? We really share our many values in common. We believe in opportunity, we believe in excellence, we believe in accountability. And we also collaborate on the evaluation of teaching and learning, the outcomes. We build on what we believe to be strong, and we learn from things that didn't go so well, and that's a valuable lesson, and we don't apologize for that. I'm very proud, I think, most of what this faculty represents, which is enormous curiosity and an openness to go out there and innovate and propose things that will make everything better here. So we begin the year with some pretty significant changes. And then I'm going to stop talking because I want to show you 2 of them and demonstrate them, actually. In 2009, we launched the Freshman Academies. And again, because so many of our faculty are new, it occurs to me, you might not have heard the spiel that we were talking about the Freshman Academies, because in the last year or so, we've been consumed with other conversations. So we're going to, refocus, right? Reset, is that a bad phrase these days, I guess? The Freshman Academies in 2009 created this environment to support students in a cohort environment to develop their connection to us and to one another. We looked at that and evaluated it formally for the last 4 years. At the same time, there was this extraordinary effort by our faculty, and was really developed by our faculty, to lead high-impact activities. Initially, it was not our intention to touch curriculum. That was really brought to bear by our faculty. They believed in best ways to teach, for students to learn, and so they took the lead on high-impact practices. And it's gained us great notoriety in a positive way across this country. I'm very, very grateful to the faculty who've led it, and it's been, I think, the success has been due to the dedication of our faculty. So we looked at the outcomes of the assessment. We had a special Freshman Academies protocol, and we talked to the people who worked with the students we talked with the faculty, and we made some decisions. And one of them, it was a pretty daring one, and we're going to do it. We're doing it, actually. We just started. We have now expanded the freshman academies to the Queensborough academies, which will serve students, full-time students in degree programs, from the point of admission through graduation. The focus of it is our advisement system, where we have really taken advantage of our extraordinary resources there. We have used technology, which you will see shortly. And then we have also kind of focused on the things, identified the things that make a difference in student learning. And those are the high impact practices. So we've expanded those. And because the students can now be part of this academy environment, if you will, this virtual community, it gave us opportunities to bring to bear other kinds of high impact activities, which, as you know, are part of a national set of best practices. So undergraduate research is now officially one of our high impact practices. It happens to be one of the strengths and part of our national reputation, undergraduate research, but now we'll have more opportunities, I believe, to develop that. We've also, thanks again to the leadership of faculty, found the extraordinary power of collaborative learning, of common intellectual experience, and of course, our established programs such as the Learning Communities, Writing Intensive, and Academic Service Learning. So we're very pleased about that. This has been a really daring move, I think. We're scaling up. So instead of just first-time, full-time freshmen, now we're working on a caseload model so that every student can work with an advisor and have that steady relationship from admission to graduation. How did we do that? Well, again, I have to go back to the incredible members of our HEO staff. Many people here serve in the role of advisors, and I met with them over the summer. There are over probably 40 people who in some fashion or other have worked with students on their specific programs, be it college discovery, services for students with disabilities, Veterans Affairs, ASAP, our standard regular academic advisement program. So we were able to basically create a hierarchy where the ASAP people are primarily with their ASAP advisors, et cetera, all the way through. And it's manageable. It's going to be manageable because we're going to use technology to facilitate the communication and the outreach. So I'm very excited about that. Now, we've also adjusted our freshman academies assessment protocol since we've adjusted the academies, and we will be seriously studying that in a very scientific way. It'll be led by IR, and I thank you, Victor. You know Victor. He's going to take the lead along with his colleagues in that office. So if we're going to expand the high-impact activities, of course, we need to support our faculty. So first of all, the faculty are leading these efforts, and we actually now have not just a leader, but usually a team of faculty, which we hope will grow. And we do want to continue support because so much good work has come out of it, and so many of our faculty have really presented throughout this country and internationally. So I do want to remind you that we will, first of all, make sure to include all of our adjunct colleagues because they are welcomed and encouraged to participate in all of the faculty development we do, in all of the projects that we do, and in the opportunities for support that we offer. That's very important, and I hope you'll share that information. Are any of our colleagues from the adjunct faculty here with us today? Anybody? Hi. Hello, I'm glad you could be here. Thank you. Thank you for really making the time. This is not easy for you, I'm sure, but I'm glad you're part of our family. So I did want to remind you we have over $200,000, which is really available to support the activities of the high-impact practices and faculty research and their presentations. That's done through a number of mechanisms. The Office of Academic Affairs has some money. My goodness, it's worse than my phone. CEDL has grant money for pedagogical challenge grants. Faculty research is done through our QCC Foundation, our wonderful people who who really support us. These are people who, from the avenue of philanthropy, really believe in us and support money, and they give a fair amount of money. And of course, the PSC CUNY travel funds, which are available through that arrangement and distributed among all the faculty. So it's a nice bit of support. We have a wonderfully active faculty, so you keep on finding ways to do your research and present, and we'll keep on finding ways to support your presentation at different venues. Now, we don't forget about students clearly, because we want the students to do well, to continue their work, and mostly to have a timely completion. This phrase is out there all the time. We'd like them to graduate on time or close to on time. So several years ago, we began a summer scholarship program in addition to our merit scholarship program for incoming freshmen and for continuing students. And the summer scholarship was for students who were within like 1 or 2 courses of finishing 1/2 of their degree in 1 calendar year, essentially. So we realized that the January freshmen were kind of not in the loop. So this year we're going to offer some winter scholarships for people to take 1 course to bring them to, say, 30 by the end of their first calendar year here. So we'll be reaching out. Academic Affairs, Glenn Birdie actually will be overseeing that. So I hope that you appreciate that these are chances for students to be supported to complete what they need to do. And we have really allocated almost $300,000 for scholarships. That was money raised by our faculty, by our students, by our staff, through the Walk to Aspire, through partners, and of course through our donors across this country, actually. So that was nice news I wanted to share with you. There are 2 other major changes that you'll see in a minute, and one is demonstrating the use of technology to facilitate communication and promote engagement with students, faculty, and staff, which is our new website for academic programs, career advisement, articulation. And we're also going to show you the debut of Starfish. This is a very interesting program that was built on a pilot that many of you contributed to last year. And we're very proud that we were one of 19 colleges in the country to receive a $100,000 grant from the Gates Foundation to continue the work. And you'll see it. I'm very excited about it. Along with the Academies model, the expansion, and of course the high impact practices expansion, and the technology you're about to see, we have some organizational changes. For some of you, this may be news, and for others it may not be, but you probably know that Michelle Cuomo has relocated to Pennsylvania, right? Pennsylvania, right? Yeah. Yes, Montgomery County Community College. We miss her terribly every day. So we have done a number of changes in academic affairs. The Office of Academic Affairs, of course, is headed by Karen Steele with Denise, Artie, Bruce. In addition, we've asked Janie Heineman to take the lead on some of the high-impact activities, helping faculty organize that. Margot will continue to work as a faculty fellow and be involved with CUE and the summer program, and of course our remediation review. And Glenn Birdie will continue, again, these are as faculty fellows, as co-chair of our periodic review, and he will also oversee the budget. He's an important person to know, as you can imagine. And he's also going to work with adjuncts and the scholarships, as I mentioned. Brian Kerr, who joined us as a manager of articulation and educational partnerships, is really taking the lead for the development of, contributing to the development of our website for academic programs, but he's also the chief liaison with the Department of Student Affairs. Remember that the model of the academies was based on a partnership between student affairs and academic affairs. So I think we'll do well. It's not easy to replace Michelle. As you can see, it took a number of people to fill those slots, but we're very happy to have you all with us. Now, also a major change at this time, a search is underway for a provost and senior vice president for academic affairs. Vice President Rosemary Zins will chair the search committee, which includes Karen Steele and 3 academic department chairpersons who represent various curricula, Joe Culkin, Georgia McGill, and Stu Asser. Professor Alex Tarasco is representing the faculty on the committee. Shirley Chen is representing Finance and Administration. Gisela Rivera is representing Student Affairs. and Brian Forrest representing the technology end. Now, what we anticipate is that the search committee will interview folks sometime in October and recommend several finalists to come to the campus and meet with the department chair people, leaders of the governance groups, the students, and of course, we'll have a town hall environment so that you can meet some of the finalists as well. The goal is to have someone in place for the spring semester. So, as soon as that is all settled, Vice President Steele will take the leadership of a new division, Strategic Planning, Assessment, and Institutional Effectiveness. This is a very important endeavor. I've been worried, if those of you who know me know, I've been wringing my hands worrying about the Middle States self-study and more immediately our periodic review, which is the 5-year step in our accreditation. So this division will include, of course, Karen, Artie Corradetti, Ian Beckford, and the Office of Institutional Research. And so they will be involved with the strategic planning process, the annual department end-of-year reports, the Assessment Institute, Gen Ed assessment with the faculty, program review, accreditation, and I've actually tasked them with really taking a look at retention from out of the weeds, from like at least 10,000 feet up maybe. So I think this is going to be very effective for us as an institution to be able to put all the pieces together and analyze them. So let me just make a couple of announcements and then turn this over to my astounding colleagues that you'll meet in a minute. We were one of 6 community colleges to receive an NEH grant, a matching grant. And that's a pretty impressive feat considering there are about 1,100 community colleges. But it's in support of the Kupferberg Holocaust Resource Center and incorporating the lessons from that period of time, unfortunately, and the current tragedies that occur, and incorporating that into the humanities. We received a grant to be offered over 5 years where a faculty will lead a series of colloquia. This is the 2nd year, and this year that series of the program will be led by Susan Jacobowitz. And I know that you'll be anxious to hear more details. They'll be coming out shortly with the schedule of activities, when they are, et cetera. Also, speaking of cultural resources, Isabel, I promised I'd mention this. We do want to thank again the Academic Senate Committee on Cultural and Academic Resources, right? And Isabel Azul and her colleagues on that committee worked very hard to create materials that faculty can use to integrate the Kupferberg Holocaust Resource Center, the Art Gallery, and QPAC into the things that they do in their classes and courses. So please, they're all on the website under each of their cultural resource websites, and please do take a look. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. Last May, we had a reunion of our faculty from last September and January. I don't know if any of you were here today, but you gave us a great suggestion, and we do listen. One of the faculty said, you have so many strange terms. What do they all mean? And so we realized we really needed to provide a glossary of terms. That was the recommendation directly from faculty. So that's actually been updated. So you know how we do our alphabet soup stuff? But the glossary is now posted on the website under faculty and staff. And I want to thank our faculty for suggesting it. So I just want to know it's there. It's there. Now, the second to last thing I wanted to mention was we've been asked to collaborate on the creation of a new high school in Queens. You probably heard about PTech, which was mentioned in the President Obama, that is, his State of the Union last January. There's a PTech that involves New York City Technical College and high school there. So last week we were asked to have a conversation, and that's where we are, right at the level of conversation right now, to really collaborate and create a high school with curricular emphasis on technology and computer software and applications. It has the unique feature of having a very active corporate partner, in a good sense. I realize not everybody likes that word, but actually SAP is quite anxious to be a part of it because they can provide mentoring, internship opportunities, and certainly it is a way for students to become involved, gain their academic knowledge, and yet be able to segue to a career, a very successful career in those areas. So we're just beginning to have conversations. We will be inviting the participation of our faculty in the departments of business and engineering technology. We don't know much more about it. We just had one quick conversation, but I did want you to know. The paper, there was a big news conference, I think, last week with the chancellor and the chancellor of the New York City Board of Ed, and they did announce 3 schools. That's not, they weren't referring to us. Those schools, one in Queens that they're announcing is actually LaGuardia. But we would look to continuing conversation and partnering with an expected launch or an opening of a school with a 9th grade of 100 students next fall. So we'll be reaching out to you, and I hope you'll find some interesting things to do. It involves everything, curriculum, faculty development, et cetera. So it's kind of like college now and all the pre-collegiate programs on steroids. So we'll see how this goes. The other announcement I want to make is that club hours are back to 12:10 to 2:10, which is where they started when I started. We've moved them around a little bit, but just in case you're organizing your programs, that's wonderful. I'm going to stop talking because what you need to see is this incredible, incredible work. We have a team of folks led by Artie, Brian, Raj, and Dave, who are going to show you our updated academic website and tell you a little bit about it. They have really done all this work, and of course, Jason, I forgot, oh my gosh. They've been working on it for a while. They started a while ago and they had to stop because things get in the way, but we've really made a concerted effort. And I'm very impressed and I'm very grateful, and I hope you will be too. So please come on up.
Good afternoon. I just want to introduce you to the team that worked on this project. Of course, myself, but also Jason Ano from Academic Computing, Dave Moretti from Academic Computing, Raj Vaswani from IT, and of course, Brian Kerr from the Office of Academic Affairs. What's nice about this project is that it's brought together a number of elements that have either been percolating for years or that address some of the issues that have come up over the last academic year. Naturally, you all know, or many of you know, that all of our curricula were revised in some fashion or other over the last year. So we had that. That was a major change to the website. We have a brand new academy structure, which is another major change that needs to be captured on the website. Brian recently joined Academic Affairs within the last year as a director of articulation, transfer and educational partnerships, and that involved a complete update to our articulation database and all of our relationships with colleges in the area. So that was a major change, but we wanted to allow that change to be better accessible because it wasn't all that accessible on the website. And so all of these different areas all came together. We also had a new director of enrollment management and admissions, Laura Bruno, and she had ideas about how we wanted to change that part of the website. In other words, there were many, many components coming together, and the thought of doing some kind of piecemeal change on all of these different pages didn't make any sense. We really felt like this was a particular moment in time when we could bring everything together into one place. Our current website, or I should say our old website, because it's no longer up anymore, had a lot of information, but it was in many ways all over the place. And many web pages had so much information that it was very difficult to negotiate and figure out what was there. Probably information overload. Very busy, just too much. And probably a result of just accreting material year after year. I want this on there, I want this on there, I want this on there, and then over years you have all of this stuff, and it's very difficult to find what you need. So this is the way the programs of study pages looked presentation of degrees and resources and so on. And the idea was we really wanted to do something that integrated academics, programs of study, articulation, the academies, transfer agreements, and careers. And that's a lot. And do it in a way that when a student went in, for example, a prospective student or even a current student, to go to one place and from that one place be able to negotiate among all of these different elements. You come in, you see that we have an academy model. You understand very quickly that within each academy there are certain programs, what those programs involved, what were the requirements, but then given that program, what were the transfer agreements that were possible? What are some of the colleges in the area that have articulations with us? What kind of information you need in terms of those articulation or transfer agreements? What are the course-to-course equivalencies, for example? And where does that take you? Given that given that program, what kinds of careers were available to you, potentially, for the future? And so we had this conception of trying to bring all of these elements together under an academics page. And the result has been, with the collaboration of Raj, Dave, and Jason, of bringing all this together in what we think is a very dynamic way. Are you ready? This is it. No, this is not it. This is our homepage, correct?
Yeah.
And that is our new academics page, which brings everything together. And I'll now turn it over to Dave to give you some of the detail about how this all comes together.
Good afternoon. Yo, Dave. Oh, now I'm in trouble. Thank you. So as Dr. Cordetti mentioned, we looked at a review of all the sites. When you land on the academics site, based on analytic data that we looked at over an entire academic year, we came across the approach of consolidating information, getting the most valuable information out to our end users, students, faculty, staff, prospective, and family members in a fashion that made sense to them, was something that was hip, and that was one of the things we were trying to strive as a team, was to stay current. You know, how do we reach people? How do we reach the kids? So we've started making additional changes, and we came up with a new approach to deliver information to individuals when they reach the academies. And before I get into each of the individual academies, when you come into academics, if you're looking at information, we've updated our new programs of study page. You saw on one of the slides, we just had that long list. Okay, we've changed that now. We now have all the degree programs, whether they be transfer, career, or certificate, listed by academy. Or if you're not really interested in the academy, you could go to the alphabetical list and get to see what every one of those programs is. As such, if I click on a degree program, the degree programs are also tied to the academy. So now, before it was a PDF, which wasn't really user-friendly. We've now changed that. Now we're making things more user-friendly to our kids and to everyone else. Student goes in, they pick a degree program, they see what academy it belongs to. They can get information on that degree program, and notice there's also a link for advisor notes, so this is a tool used to help advise our students as to what is their path and degree. If a student or an individual wanted to find out, well, what in the world is inside a required Core 1, they could click on the link, it'll take them to the list, which then allows them to identify course description. So now they get to see, well, what are the courses in this group, and what's the description? What's it about? From there, a student can then say, well, yeah, that's really cool. I can either register for a class. If I'm new, I can apply to the college. I could see information that relates to them, including advisement access. Or I could pick the academy. And now we come into the academies. And for each of the academies, we styled a look that we thought was specific to that academy, something that would engage the students using actual faculty and student members of our campus to sell what we're doing here. We have a list of degrees that we're offering. So you can toggle between transfer, career, or certificate. Individuals coming to the site can also then scroll down and they get to see who are the academy advisors in that academy, our faculty coordinators, contact information to the academy. And they really get to then identify more, well, what's going on? What's information specific to the degree program and what's specific to the academy itself? I'm going to take you into the pages, but now I'm going to turn over the microphone to Raj and he'll explain more on the Career Central portion of it. I just want to also tie into, we've changed the look of admissions, which also allows prospective students or parents coming in to see what's going on. We emphasize our new academies, and we emphasize our Career Central site, as well as we've updated our student life page to really focus information to our students that helps them get learning resources, support resources, things that make sense to them as the student. So if I take you back to the academy real quick, within a degree program, a student coming in not only sees the courses, they could see potential careers that exist in that degree program, including what's up and coming, the hot jobs, what's the green jobs. Raj is going to explain that because he knows it 10 times better than I do. And we also have the new college transfer agreements, which highlights the agreements that Queensborough has with other schools, including a map feature and detailed information. And I'm going to allow Raj to have fun with that because that's a ton of really cool stuff. We also took it outside of the degree program and brought it into the specific academy. So if you weren't really sure, you could just go right into Career Central for this academy and say, okay, that's great. What do you got? Show me something. To tie everything in, because we talked about integration, we've included in many of the pages links to the Office of Career Services. The information we're providing is like a primer. We're getting everybody ready for this info, but if we want them to go forward, contact the Office of Career Services, because then you gain access to more data, more services that they provide, and better help. In addition, we also have links in other areas for our senior college or four-year college transfer office, George, wherever you are, to drive the students to say, hey, well, I'm looking to complete my degree. Why don't I contact this office to find out what the future holds for me? Can I graduate and then go on to another school? So we wanted to integrate all the offices and get everyone together and teamed on the same page of helping our students come in, complete their degree here, and then move on. That being said, I'm going to turn the mic over to Raj and let him have fun. Any mic? There you go.
Before you do that, could we just show the liberal arts degree, please?
Always got to pick that one. So we have liberal arts.
Probably our most revised curriculum on campus is the LA program, and it now has 15 concentrations with which you might be aware. So I just wanted to use this as an example because it's essentially it's the same format for every degree program. We have the Common Core at the top. Each category has the complete list of courses available in that area. You can choose a concentration at the top, which then changes the bottom. So in this particular case, Dave clicked on, all right, liberal studies, and when you scroll down, you get the liberal studies concentration. Could you stop scrolling for a second?
Sorry.
Making me nuts.
We gotta have fun. Can't be too stuffy around here.
Okay. Where was I? All right.
Liberal
the
studies.
Common Core. There are places where there are certain courses that are required, and that's indicated. There are other places where it's completely open, and you just click where appropriate, and you get the list that's available. There are the general requirements at the top, but then the specific requirements for each. And where we've received specific information from departments, we have advisor notes to help. If you click there, you get advisor notes, which may or may not. Let's look at another one. There's not much for liberal studies because that's just a basic generic program. Let's look at a specific one. That's a good one. If you click on advisor notes, there's a description, there's kind of a summary of changes in the advisement notes, there's a suggested first semester sequence that you can take. So the idea is that built into the curriculum, because that's what the students need to know. What are the requirements? All of the information is there that they will need to choose the right courses. And where appropriate, there are advisors' notes to help advisors to explain to students what some of the nuances are of particular curricula. We also have, at the right, major gateway courses. There are a number of majors in CUNY that are very highly enrolled, and the faculty came up with specific courses at any school that will automatically transfer into the major at any other CUNY school. And so that's the comprehensive list, but those courses, where applicable, are built into the curriculum. So it's not like you have to go look at that table to find out where they are. In each curriculum, if there is a pathways major, you will find that information, and it's built into the curriculum. And what we've also done in every case is we've given students the opportunity to take action. If they look at this and like what they see, they either register or they apply to the college. We want them to have a very simple way, very clear way to take action as soon as they've acquired the information that they need. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Raj and Brian to show Career Central.
How you doing? I'd like to just go back and give a little history. We kind of, Artie and I first started this many years ago. I think it was 2006, 2007. We worked on articulation agreements and worked on that database. We started building careers in, but the problem really was bringing in a lot of the Department of Education information, which we now have. I'm just going to jump right in to give you an idea of how rich the information is. We're having a hard time bringing this information and getting the data entry. And, with Brian on board now, got back into articulations, got into the careers, and we went out to a vendor and were able to purchase a very rich database. We joined that with the original database from '07, which allowed us to create linkages from Department of Education degree programs with Department of Labor jobs with our own actual degree programs here. So now you can actually click on, you can be in an academy, click on Career Central, jump in, get an idea of what kind of jobs you can get based on a program of study. So let's take a look at business administration, get a bunch of jobs, you can get an idea whether they're growth or green, jump right in, and then you can even get an idea of other possible degree programs that could bring you to the same path. Maybe you realize when you read the duties, this is not maybe where you want to be, right? So you can go right back from there and look at another academy. It's just kind of to help you figure out where you really want to be in life, really. I think that's the real power of it. And then from there, you may want to realize that you're looking at a job and you know what? Maybe you need more additional education info. Maybe you need PhD. Maybe you need to go further. And from there, you can see where you can transfer to. So these are our articulation agreements or transfer agreements based on business administration, accounting. These are all the schools. And maybe you don't know how far away they are. Maybe you want to make it convenient for yourself. I'm going to see if I can pull this up full screen to kind of help you get an idea. So these are articulations based on the program I was in. I'm sorry, I went full screen, so we kind of lost that. But if you click on one, you can get an idea of where it is. And we're working on, Brian's really been working on getting in touch with the actual contacts. So you actually have a phone number. You can actually call and speak with an actual person that can bring you there. Of course, I picked one that's a little far away.
Minneapolis, right?
But, we can do a little better than that.
Well,
right?
Yeah, let's get to New York. I just wanted to say when I took over something that and having been the director of advisement before this new role, I guess my colleagues and I used to talk about the fact that how do we tell students about or inform students of articulation agreements? They were pieces of paper that we kept in folders in our desk that the students really didn't have much access to. So, in talking to my colleagues in this partnership role at different colleges, it really naturally became something that needed to be done was really providing opportunities for students and advisors and faculty and others to be able to show students or guide students somewhere where you can see what this agreement looks like. It's not, if you wait to look at it in a folder or some papers in my desk, you'll never see it, but it's up here for you to see. And so this concept of the map sort of came hopefully to bear good fruit, because we're hoping that a lot of students use this, and I think they're going to. And really, our students are visual in many cases, so it's very clear when you look at a school, you look at the contact information for the people, and we're still working. Students really want to know, when I pick a college, and I get my associate's degree, because another big piece that we're really working on is completion, graduation. We want the students to finish. We want to show them that, okay, well, if you go to this program and you do business administration, as you can see in this case, you do 60 credits, 58 are accepted. In many cases, it's a 60 to 60, but we put all that out there so students make that determination. They have the tools now to look at what colleges are accepting, how far away they are from Queensboro, from their home. That's the nice piece about the map. And again, I think it was sort of just the perfect timing in terms of our departments working together. I'd like to actually publicly make a special thank you to Connie Peluso and her office and George Machida, because this is something that certainly wasn't done in a vacuum. We didn't just decide one day we were going to do this. As Artie talked about and Raj talked about, this is something that was on a back burner for a while. There is a Focus 2 program that Connie administers, and it goes into greater depth for students to talk about the careers, and there's a lot more guidance in terms of doing assessment pieces to find out if certain careers are good for you. But we wanted something sort of down and dirty, and the idea was, particularly for prospective students, they weren't going to spend a lot of time logging onto a system and going into this. It had to be very quick, and this software allowed us to do this. So what perfect timing, divine intervention, I think, was, and I know Dr. Cole's been talking a lot about working collaboratively with one another. I think this was a perfect example of academic affairs, student affairs, finance and administration, putting our heads together, putting all other things aside except for students. Because when you see this website and you see what we can do here, I really think it's a great tool for students to sort of embark upon this, learn from it, make informed decisions. I'm hoping they'll be more interested in finishing the degree and realizing, okay, I found the job I want to do. This is the curriculum I'm going to work through and complete, and then look at that, I can go to this college. And one of the nice things we're going to be working on, as Raj already brought you there, many of our partner colleges are banging down our doors to get our logo and actually showcase. So we want them to showcase things like tuition, the FAFSA code, so students know how to apply. Scholarship information. Many of these schools, they'll tell our students, we really want you to graduate. And if you do, we have better financial packages for students who graduate from Queensboro before moving on. So the old days of saying, colleges are going to come here, they're going to come to our fair and just sort of pick our students and tell them, you have 25 credits, come with us. That still happens, I'm sure. But in many cases with the partners here, their preference is that students finish. And research shows that when students finish at a community college, it's public information, they do better, and they do better academically than students who've started brand new at that same four-year institution. So this is powerful data. I think our partners know that, and that's why they would really like our students to graduate. And their perks, So here's a VIP perk. When this is done, this is still in its infancy. But welcome Queensboro student. We're happy to have you here. These are all the ways that we're going to help you to be successful. So that's the essence of what we were trying to do. Make these connections. Another thank you to marketing and communications, obviously, because they've looked through a lot of the information to make sure we were putting in the appropriate wording. Thank you, Cicely, and thank you, Stephen, for your assistance. And really. Again, I'm taking the time because I think it's important to thank people who've worked really hard. Jason, Dave, and Raj, really, we couldn't have done this without you. I think Artie and I provided a lot of, pushing a little bit and some collaborative ideas, but obviously you guys were the excitement. The excitement, seeing you excited about the project, I think was really nice, because it's nice to see that this in its essence, this being done, is going to help students. Dave, I think you had some good information to share just about the fact that it was launched over the weekend and people are using it already, correct?
Correct. So we went live officially Sunday morning and just started looking, I talked about analytics before, just in 2 days of analytics, that would be Sunday and Monday, the college site as a whole has had 46,000 unique views, of which our brand new academic site pulled in just under 2,000 of it, leading to the Career Central site that Raj was showcasing, which is just over 1,600 unique views. So with absolutely no publication, no promotion as of yet, we were able to wrangle in just over 1,500 people to look at this information. And we're starting to see the buzz. We're monitoring the data that's going on, and we're starting to see things are on the upswing. Now, I understand we did have freshmen first, but this was something that we didn't even talk about. People are finding it, our users are finding it, and the global data shows the vast majority are coming from within the United States, and we're seeing Indonesia, Middle East, so we're starting to see where in the planet they're coming from and identify these students. So this has been something exciting for us because we're starting to see that the data is showing us what they're interested in. And it's really focused primarily now around these new pages that we worked on. So we're still monitoring, we're gonna let everybody know, and we'll keep working on this, okay?
Did you mention that if you go to the home page of Queensborough now, there's no more future students or current students? You changed that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's admissions and student life.
Right, we made the change based on terminology, in looking at the data, and then in looking at research of other campuses across the country, primarily non-CUNY, to get an idea as to terminology and buzzwords. We don't have dormitories, so the vast majority of schools use what's called campus life. So the focus was, okay, we don't have dorms, but we have services and support opportunities for students. So we'll make this student life. How do we help our kids? How do we drive them there? And then admissions, really, I know that was Laura's big point. We wanted to sell it as admissions. We want people coming in. And we talk about all the various things that you can do where you can apply, you can visit us, you can request info, and then we're working on the after you apply, we want to expand that more. We want to cover every base for a student. When they come in, they apply to the school, they're accepted. What do you do next? How do you work your way through the school, and how do you tap all the resources we have, which then helps fill all your classes. So that's the goal. Okay?
Making tangible connections for students was one of the last things I wanted to say, but another thing was, just to brag, no one else is doing this. We are the first in CUNY. No one else has a unique product like this that connects all those circles together. Curriculum, pathways, everything we're doing, jobs or career opportunities, articulation agreements, it's all in one place, it's masked in a way that it's accessible for students, and we're pioneers. So just wanted you to know.
And now for something completely different. I've been asked to say a few words about the periodic review. Middle States, as an accredited member of the Middle States Commission on Higher Education, we have an accreditation event every 5 years. Every 10 years is the self-study, and every alternate 10 years is a periodic review. We're now currently preparing a periodic review, which is due on June 1st, June 1st, 2014. And we have a team that is working on this project. It's being led by Professor Glenn Birdie and myself, and we also have Linda Reisman and Andrea Salas, who are helping to write the report in the fall. We've done a lot of preliminary work this past year to address some of the components that will be cited in the reports, like course assessment and program review and year-end reports that all of the departments prepare. And so now we're going to get down to the harder work, or differently hard work, of writing the actual report. And we will be looking for some collaboration and input from various faculty bodies like the Faculty Executive Committee, the Senate Steering Committee, because we want to have a report that is comprehensive and complete, that covers all the areas, that accounts for all of the things that have occurred since the last accreditation event. The last time we dealt with Middle States was in 2010 when we did a monitoring report. Those who are new, that'll be new too. For the rest of you, you probably remember when we had to write a monitoring report to follow up with Middle States. And it is very important that in that report that we submit in 2014, that we demonstrate the continued implementation of comprehensive, integrated, and sustained assessment processes. And there are a lot of good stories that we can tell about things that we've done over the last few years and things that are happening even this year. I think this right here is one of them. Starfish, which is going to be demoed next, is another. And we've done a lot of other things. We have a Senate Assessment Committee. We've done an Assessment Institute. We've done a lot of other kinds of projects. And I think when you look at the whole story, and if that story is told well, I think that we have a good chance of submitting a report that gives us a clean bill of health. At least that's the hope. So this is something that's going to happen in the fall. It'll be very intense. And then in the spring, we will have an entire semester to vet it across many constituencies. There'll probably be open forums like this in which the team will be presenting the report and asking for feedback and comment. The hope is that over the course of a number of months, we can get as much input from as many different people as possible to make sure that we've told as complete a story as we can. So we certainly look forward to your help and your support and your additional help to make sure that this report reflects everything that Queensborough has to offer and that has accomplished. So with that, thank you very much. And I now turn it over to VP Newcomb.
Good afternoon. I'm Sherry Newcomb. It's nice to see so many people here this afternoon. It's a very good crowd. It's my privilege to introduce the Starfish demonstration. Starfish is not a name that we came up with locally. It's the name of the company that has developed a set of software solutions that are designed to assist all members of the campus community, instructors, and student services personnel in helping them along the way and in thereby improving retention and graduation rates. We're implementing two main software solutions of Starfish. One is called Early Alert, the other is Starfish Connect. Early Alert will replace the locally developed solution we've had in place in the past, and Starfish provides more solutions than we've had locally previously. Early Alert identifies students based upon reported observations of faculty members or other student services staff, such as academy advisors. And it can also generate alerts based upon selected data from our administrative and academic support systems. Starfish Connect integrates with Early Alert, and it offers student services staff, such as academy advisors, the ability to document their interactions with students, and it includes a variety of case management features, support features. So that is very consistent with our academy advisement model. One of the other things that is important is that we're always very mindful of the need to keep information confidential, and Starfish allows us to manage confidentiality at a very granular level with roles and providing access to information only when it's specifically needed by someone to do their job. So for this fall, we're rolling out a faculty early alert component, which includes a learning center referral option. So several members of the Starfish team are here, and they're going to demonstrate that for you now. We've had a great team in keeping with the all-college collaborative model in support of student success. That model continues with Starfish, and as the president mentioned, this same team did submit a grant to the Gates Foundation, and we received one of 19 grants nationwide in support of this retention solutions project. So the members of the team that are here today, if you would come up, and I'm going to turn it over to them. We have Ed Molina, and Ed has served as a project coordinator for Starfish, and he's done a wonderful job, particularly because he represents a learning center, and he also is a teaching faculty member, so Ed's been very helpful. And then our fantastic IT staff, Emil Perinello and Raj Vaswani, they have, and Christina Dianandan, they have worked really tirelessly. They provide a lot of IT support, of course, but they also really understand what we do here. And so their expertise has been invaluable, so I'm going to turn it over to them now. And there have been a lot of people working on this project, lots of people in student affairs and academic affairs. VP Steele has been involved, VP Hardigan has been involved. It's been a real, we've all provided a lot of executive sponsorship for this effort, and our staffs have worked now for several months, and I can't name everyone. I'm sorry not to name everyone, but I just want to turn it over to the team and let you all see what we've been up to. And this is just the initial rollout.
Hi, good afternoon. My name's Emil Parinello, and I'm going to let Ed drive while I narrate and walk you through a demonstration of the Starfish Solution System with a focus on the faculty early alert, which is now called actually progress surveys. Okay, so the whole process is basically kicked off by an email to the instructor to the QCC email account, and that email will be sent to your inbox, and it will list directions on how to complete the survey. It will also, if you scroll down a little bit, it will list all the courses that instructor is teaching where a survey is due. On the bottom of the screen, you'll also see a link into the Starfish application. By clicking on that link, it will take you into the application where you'll authenticate using your QCC email credentials, your username, and your password. So you don't have to worry about learning another password or username. So Ed's now going to jump into the actual system. And the first thing you'll see is you're brought to your dashboard, okay? So this is the dashboard the faculty will see. Towards the top of the screen, you'll get a reminder that you have progress surveys that are due. So you'll notice there's one for each section again. By simply selecting one of those sessions, you'll be brought right into a survey. And this survey is very similar to those who have completed the early alert. It's based basically on a couple of things. Obviously, you have a roster of your complete section, and then you have what are called flags. A flag is a concern that you as an instructor wishes to raise about a student. So right now in this survey, and surveys can be customized. In the future, I wouldn't be surprised if we have surveys for specific departments and courses, and I believe we may even be able to target them for certain student groups. But right now, this is a basic survey going out to all sections. So Ed, if you would just quickly describe some of the flags.
Sure. The first flag that appears is a flag for lateness. Our second flag is an attendance concern flag. Our third flag is a poor class performance. And generally, you would want to do a poor class performance when a student has a poor grade, a quiz, or an exam. Our other flag here is unprepared for class, and this is when there are missing homework assignments. And lastly, we have a flag for in danger of failing, and we want to raise this. Our last four columns are for referrals.
Yeah, I'll get into those to describe the difference between a referral and a flag. Unlike the early alert system, which only had flags, and in Starfish, the flags are actually going to be managed by the advisors. So an advisor will see this flag made about a student, and they will be able to use this information in Starfish to prioritize their caseload and give those that need certain attention that attention. They'll be able to pull all that data with Starfish. And I do want to mention that participation and using the Starfish solution is voluntary. Obviously, it's strongly encouraged, but it's voluntary for the instructor. The benefits to use it will obviously go across the board for your student, for your advisors, and for yourself as well. Okay, so getting back to the right-hand side of the screens with the referrals. Unlike in early alert, you can only set a flag. Now in Starfish, you'll be able to refer a student to one of our learning centers on campus. And ultimately, that will give you, the instructor, feedback that this referral was met, a student made an appointment or went to the center as a walk-in, and what was done during that referral. So Ed, quickly, if you go over the centers that are available in this survey.
Yeah, here's a lateness for class a flag that I've raised. I can do multiple flags. I could do an attendance concern at the same time. There's also room for details, and I can put in here late twice. And that's for one student. If I just wanted to do one particular flag, I could click on it, and it's recorded in the system.
And the referrals?
And we have referrals that we can also select if we wanted to do one to the Math Learning Center.
Can you just quickly go over what the 4 are right now, for
Yes.
those who don't know what they are?
We have a referral for the Academic Literacy Center. The 4 major learning centers on campus. We have the Academic Literacy Center, there's one for the Campus Writing Center, there's one for the Math Learning Center, and there's one for the Student Learning Center.
Okay, and unlike the flags that are set and cleared, actually cleared, not set, cleared by the advisors, these referrals will ultimately be cleared by the learning centers once a student fulfills that referral. Okay. And did you want to show a referral, how it requires a comment, or you want to do that in the partially completed survey?
The
We'll do
partially
that in the
completed,
next one.
yeah.
You'll notice on the top of the screen there are 3 options towards the right-hand side. You can save a draft in case life happens and you need to take a break, or perhaps you need to go back to your notes and get additional information before you can complete the survey. So that will allow you to do some work, stop, and come back at a later time. The Never Mind button is basically a cancel, so that will basically not save any information for this survey that you've entered at that point. And the last is to submit a survey. Once you submit a survey, it's basically finalized. It will trigger a series of events that happens behind the scenes, including emails to instructors, students, and advisors, as well as some other things and additional information that's going on there. So now Ed is going to go out of this and open up a survey that he already started, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the referrals.
So this one I already started. I've selected a flag for an attendance concern. I've done one for lateness. Here's another one for attendance. And we can enter comments. We're going to bring this over a little bit so we can take a look at this. Once you click on this little post-it, you can enter a comment. And then if you notice in this one down here, we have an unprepared for class flag with a referral. And this would go hand in hand, especially if somebody's missing an assignment. You would want to let the advisor know that there's a flag for that, and that the Learning Center would also be informed that the student needs to go there. Here are the messages that I've put in already for the Math Center Learning referral. A comment is required, and what's nice about this system is that I can copy and paste this and reuse it for another student. So if you have an assignment that the whole class is doing and a couple of students are missing that assignment, you can always copy and paste it and use it again.
Right, so a referral does require a comment. So I do realize that's an extra step. It's a little more time, but this will actually help the person in the Learning Center, the student or the coordinator who's tying up a student perhaps with a tutor or a course. It will give them a little direction as to why the student is there. It will also appear in some of the feedback emails, so the advisor will know that they were sent for this reason and this was ultimately satisfied. Okay, so like I said, after you hit the submit button, you're basically locked out for making changes to this survey. But through the faculty dashboard, at any time during the term, you can set flags or referrals. You don't need to wait for a survey to happen. If you see a student and you feel that you need to, either something as simple as giving the student a little jolt, hey, I know you've been late to class, you could set a late to class flag, and the student will get an email saying that you've been flagged as being late to classes, and It'll let the student know that you're on top of things. If it's more serious, you can also refer them to a learning center without having to wait for an advisor to notice the flags and then step in and take action. So Ed's going to jump into a sampling of some of those emails now to show you the feedback and the closing of the loop that Starfish facilitates.
Our first email here is a notification to the student about the attendance flag. It's addressed to the student and it's from the college. There are links in the email for available resources and free tutoring. Our second email is a confirmation to you, the faculty, letting you know that an attendance flag has been raised and that the comment that you entered is also included. Our next email is a notification to the student letting him know that the referral has been done. In this case, it was a referral to the Math Learning Center, and the course was college algebra. It's addressed to the student. And then here's a faculty confirmation for the referral. And the details are included. Work with a tutor and complete assignment number 2, the notes that we entered for that referral. Lastly, we have the faculty notification when the referral is cleared. This is done when the Learning Center has cleared the referral. It includes the raised date and notes and the cleared dates and notes. You'll notice here that it was raised on the 19th. The notes were entered by the instructor with the tutor and complete assignment number 2. It was cleared by the Learning Center personnel on the 20th, and the notes that the personnel entered when clearing the referral. In this case, student completed assignment number 2.
All right, and in addition to this information and feedback that the faculty gets directly from Starfish, through the dashboard on the faculty, depending on your relationship with the student and the way the system is configured, you can have access to additional information, such as the details on what happened in that learning center. Each learning center has an outcome tab and also a tab called Speed Notes, which have been customized for those specific centers and the actions in their centers, where you can set and click a series of boxes that will say what happened during that session. And that's all available, again, in the dashboard in Starfish, depending on your relationship with the student. So a faculty member who does not have that student in their class would not be able to see information about any other student, only those in their class and those that have some sort of relationship with the students. That's basically the end of our demonstration. I do want to mention that there are online videos and tutorials online on our Starfish website, and that will also include hard copy training materials and also a training schedule, which is happening pretty soon, mostly during club hours and some other times. But you're welcome to just walk into any of these sessions, and there'll be additional information, like I mentioned, online. And Ed Molina is basically responsible for reaching out and helping the faculty if there are any questions. And again, there will be emails and notifications about all this coming to you in the very near future. Thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your attention to this, and as students are familiar with technology and love it, I hope you will consider using the technology that's been made available to you now to help our students. So we're going to start a semester, and look at these tools we have, and look at these wonderful things we have to really make life the best at Queensborough for everybody, for the faculty, for the students, for the staff. I want to thank you for your attention this afternoon. Please feel free. Students certainly know my email address, so you all can email me or any one of our wonderful staff members, because they've done incredible work, and they've done it with the input from so many people, including student focus groups and everything else. So this last piece was an answer to faculty who said, if I send you an alert about a student, how will I know what happens? Now you'll know if you choose to use this. And it's very, very exciting. Again, thank you so much to our teams. They're going to keep working. They are wonderful. I should mention that most of them have years ago graduated from Queensborough and going on, so you've done a great job as faculty. Thank you so much for a wonderful afternoon from me, and good luck.